Okay, so it's finally April, and for me, that means that I'll be under Chase 524 in just a few short weeks. And I've been waiting for this day for a long time, actually about 6 months at this point. The last time I was under Chase 524, I was under it for less than a month, but that was enough to go on a credit card application spree, getting the US Bank Altitude Reserve, the Bilt MasterCard, and finally the Chase Ink Cash Card while it still had that $90K welcome offer. And so I've had a lot of time to strategize about what I would do the next time I was under Chase 524, so in this video I'm going to discuss what's going to be my next move. Now at this point I have two Ultimate Rewards point earning cards, which are the Chase Ink Cash and the Chase Ink Unlimited. And these cards are fantastic cards by themselves, but I'm sure you've noticed that there's something missing, and that something is access to Chase's transfer partners. Even though there are a number of redemption options, I'm really just limited to redeeming for cash back with my Chase points at 1 cent per point, which isn't bad, but I can definitely do better. And so to gain access to transfer partners, I'm going to need to get one of these three cards: the Chase Sapphire Preferred, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, or the Chase Ink Preferred. And so this is what I plan to do next as soon as I get under Chase 524, but the question is, which card will I choose? Well, even though the Chase Sapphire Preferred is a great card, I'm much more interested in the possibility of the perks and benefits offered on the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. On the other hand, the Chase Ink Preferred card is a pretty good card too, and I've made it a personal goal of mine to at least get that card at some point to finally complete my Chase Ink trifecta, so that possibility is intriguing as well. So let's first start by going over each card, and then I'm going to explain which card I plan to get, and most importantly, why. We'll start this discussion with the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, which has a welcome offer of 60,000 bonus points after spending $4,000 on purchases in the first 3 months from account opening. It, of course, has that high $550 annual fee, but this can be offset by statement credits, including the most common one we think of, which is that $300 annual travel credit. There's also a lot of other statement credits that come with this card, as shown on this screen here, which technically do lower the effective annual fee, but since a lot of these credits have end dates, they're not talked about as much as the annual travel credit. We also can't forget the $100 TSA PreCheck and Global Entry credit every 4 years that comes on most luxury travel credit cards these days. The multipliers on the card are pretty good too, with 10x points on hotels, excluding the LHR collection, and car rentals when purchased through the Chase Travel Portal, 5x points back on flights purchased through the Chase Travel Portal as well, 3x points back on dining and travel purchases, noting that travel and the Chase Travel Portal multipliers begin after the first $300 is spent on travel purchase annually, as well as 1x points back on everything else. There's also a 10x point multiplier on Chase dining purchases, and all points earned are able to be redeemed in multiple different ways, including direct deposit, statement credit, gift cards, pay yourself back, and a lot more. But with the Sapphire Reserve specifically, you get 50% more value on your Chase Ultimate Rewards points when redeeming for travel through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal, which gives all your points a pretty solid 1.5x points boost at minimum, provided you use this redemption method. Your points can also be transferred out to Chase's travel partners at 1-to-1, and you get complimentary enrollment into Priority Pass Select, which allows you access into network lounges with up to 2 guests. And this Priority Pass is particularly special because you gain access to every Chase Sapphire lounge by the club, as well as non-lounge establishments such as Priority Pass restaurants. The card also offers standard travel benefits such as no foreign transaction fees, primary rental car auto collision damage waiver, and trip and baggage insurances and reimbursements. Lastly, I want to mention that this is a personal card, and authorized users also get their own Priority Pass membership, but each authorized user is $75, so more on that later. Okay, so next up we have the Chase Ink Preferred, which has a welcome offer of earning 100,000 bonus points after spending $8,000 on purchases in the first 3 months after account opening. This card has a $95 annual fee, and employee cards can be added at no additional cost. The multipliers on the card are to earn 3x points back on shipping, advertising purchases made with social media sites and search engines, internet, cable and phone services, and travel, as well as 1x points back on all other purchases. Note that the 3x multiplier does come with a cap of $150,000 spent in combined purchases within that 3x point category, then 1x points back after that. There's also a promotion going on right now where you can earn 5x points back on Lyft rides through March of 2025. Now, unlike the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Chase Ink Preferred has a 25% bonus on travel redemptions when redeeming points for travel through the Chase Travel Portal, giving you a floor redemption of 1.25x if you redeem your Ultimate Rewards points back in this way. Of course, this card also grants you access to Chase's transfer partners at a 1-to-1 ratio, as well as trip cancellation and interruption insurance. Another nice benefit on the Chase Preferred card is that you get up to $1,000 per claim in cell phone protection against covered theft or damage, with a maximum of 3 claims in a 12-month period with a $100 deductible per claim. Now, when it comes to the rental car auto collision damage waiver, coverage is also primary, but only when renting a car for business purposes. And sadly, this card doesn't offer any airport lounge access, but it still has a very nice suite of benefits, especially for a card with a reasonable $95 annual fee. Okay, so now that we know all about both the Chase Sapphire Reserve card and the Chase Preferred card, which one of them will I be applying for in the near future? And the answer to that question is the Chase Preferred. And I want to go over the 5 reasons why this card is a better fit for me given my overall credit card portfolio. The first reason has to do with our favorite rule, which is the Chase 524 rule. Now, as we all know, this rule states that you may be automatically denied for a Chase credit card if you've been approved for 5 or more personal credit cards in the last 24 months. But this rule acts more of a guideline, as many of you have shared that you've beat Chase 524 and have been approved for Chase cards despite being over this limit. Still, I think taking this rule seriously is important, especially if you want to avoid unnecessary hard pulls with nothing to show for it. As I mentioned earlier, later this month I'll be under Chase 524, and my hope is to stay there for as long as possible. The biggest benefit of staying under Chase 524 is that if a great welcome offer comes around on a Chase card, it's one less thing to worry about when it comes to the approval. I also want to mention that there have been rumors of a new luxury high-end credit card in the works, and even though this is just speculation, if this ends up being a personal card, having an open slot is always going to be a good thing. And on that topic, it's very important to point out that business cards that don't report to your personal credit report do not count towards your Chase 524 status, and that includes Chase business cards. So if I end up getting the Chase Preferred card, I'll take the hard pull on my credit report, but it won't add to my Chase 524 status, so I'll remain at 424, and there'll be one slot open for a Chase personal card in case an elevated offer comes up or a new Chase card comes up as well. The next reason is pretty consistent with what I'm hearing a lot of these days, which is the desire to lower annual fees on our overall credit card setups. Of course, the bigger the annual fees, the bigger the benefits. But given all the recent credit card changes, I think it's wise to take a step back and really think if a high annual fee credit card is worth it. This is always going to be a balance, trying to get the best credit cards with the best benefits, but limiting those choices to cards with annual fees that make sense. Now remember, my main goal for this next card was to get access to Chase's transfer partners, and even though there are other benefits on both of these cards, the transfer partner access is the one I'm interested in. With the Chase Sapphire Reserve having an annual fee of $550 and the Chase Preferred having an annual fee of $95, it makes a lot of sense to get the Chase Preferred, and it saves me around $450 in annual fees out of pocket. And even if we consider the $300 annual travel credit, that so-called effective annual fee of $250 is still $150 more than I'd be paying on the Chase Preferred. On the topic of benefits, another reason that I don't think the Chase Sapphire Reserve is necessary for me is because I already have the Chase Ritz-Carlton card, which provides very similar benefits to the CSR, at least as it comes to lounge access. The Chase Sapphire Reserve card comes with a complimentary Priority Pass membership, and I would say that this one is the most flexible one out there right now. This is because it gets you access to not only Priority Pass lounges, but it also gets you access to non-lounge locations within the Priority Pass network, like restaurants. Of course, the Priority Pass also gets you access to the growing network of Sapphire lounges too, which is pretty nice, including the Sapphire Terrace Lounge in the Austin airport. Now, the Priority Pass on the Ritz-Carlton card is exactly the same as the Priority Pass on the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, but it doesn't include access to the Sapphire Terrace Lounge at the Austin airport, so for that reason, it's slightly less accessible than the one on the CSR when it comes to properties. But here's where it gets interesting. Both cards get you a Priority Pass membership, but if you'd like to bring guests, both cards have different rules regarding this. The Sapphire Reserve Priority Pass is limited to 2 free guests, and this is also true for the Priority Pass on any authorized users on this card as well, with each authorized user also having their own $75 annual fee. On the other hand, the Ritz-Carlton card Priority Pass has unlimited guests, including the authorized user Priority Passes, and each authorized user on the Ritz-Carlton card is completely free. Now, of course, it's not that clear-cut since every Priority Pass has their own rules regarding the number of guests you can bring in, and this may also vary depending on how popular lounges at the time when you go. But in any case, it's nice to have that flexibility with guests on the Chase Ritz-Carlton card as compared to the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. So because I already have the Chase Ritz-Carlton card and its Priority Pass benefit, this similar benefit on the CSR isn't as valuable to me, at least for right now. I will admit that the 1.5x redemption bonus on the Chase Travel Portal is very enticing, but I already have a more flexible version of this with my US Bank Altitude Reserve card, which gets a 1.5x travel redemption boost using real-time rewards. So because I already have this benefit, I'd rather just use my UR points to transfer out to Chase's travel partners for even more value. The next reason that I'm going for the Chase Ink Preferred is that it has a better welcome offer. And the word better is going to need some context. As I mentioned earlier, the Chase Sapphire Reserve welcome offer is 60,000 points for $4,000 in spend, while the Chase Ink Preferred card welcome offer is 100,000 points for $8,000 in spend. If we do the math, this ends up being 15 points per dollar spent on the Chase Sapphire Reserve and 12.5 points per dollar spent on the Chase Ink Preferred. So from a per dollar spent standpoint, you're clearly getting a better deal with the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. But this is where the time frame is also important, as both cards have a 3-month spending period. So from that perspective, on average, you'd have to spend about $1,333 per month on the CSR and $2,667 on the Ink Preferred to meet both bonuses respectively. And when I look at my projected expenses, I can definitely meet that minimum spend requirement on the Ink Preferred and earn that 100,000 point bonus, which is about 40,000 more points than it would get with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. So because I can meet this MSR, I'm okay with taking a small haircut on the points per dollar spent to get more Chase Ultimate Rewards points up front with the welcome offer on the Chase Ink Preferred. Now I also want to mention the multipliers because in my situation, the multipliers would be a better fit for me on the Chase Ink Preferred. Specifically, I'm looking for a travel card for this YouTube business, and the 3x travel on the Ink Preferred is a great multiplier I could use for this particular purpose. Of course, the Chase Sapphire Reserve card also has a 3x travel category, but I'm looking for a card to separate those business expenses, so the Ink Preferred is going to be the best option for that. It's also very exciting to me to complete that Chase Ink trifecta, which I wanted to get for a long time, which includes that Chase Ink Preferred, Chase Ink Cash, and Chase Ink Unlimited cards. But since my Chase Ink Cash card is under my YouTube LLC, I'm definitely still in the market for a second Chase Ink Unlimited card under that same EIN. So I'm going to keep my eyes open for another 90K welcome offer period because I want to jump on that whenever it's available again. And hopefully I'll still be under Chase 524 at that point, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So those are my reasons why I plan to get the Chase Ink Preferred over the Chase Sapphire Reserve in the coming months. Again, it's super important to evaluate your overall credit card portfolio when making these decisions so you can see what you have, calculate your annual fees, and use this information to help guide you to that next best credit card that you want to get in the future. I'm a big fan of being strategic when applying for credit cards and having a plan. And even though the Chase 524 rule limits my applications, I still think that it can be a good thing. So to know why, check out this video next.